My time in China is quickly drawing to a close. After this week, I have only 2 more weeks before I fly back to the States. There are still so many foods that I need to try, so I hope I get to do a little bit more. But this is what I did during my 5th week here in Chongqing. Dinner at a restaurant that serves bullfrog, and I love this sign that indicates how you choose your spice level. And the bullfrog I thought was actually really delicious. Now, this isn't the first time I've had frog because I've had frog legs in the States on multiple occasions, but this is the first time I've seen it completely intact. So here I am playing with my food, which is probably rude, but it's fun. And it tastes just like chicken. I have enjoyed almost all of the food I've had here, but there's only one food that frightens me, and that's the fish, and that's because of these tiny little fish bones. I have an irrational fear of swallowing them, but it hasn't stopped me. I spend a lot of my free time wandering around the campus because it is absolutely beautiful. Here's the duck that lives at the university. This is such a gorgeous part of China. It's so green and so lush. I feel like I'm in a rainforest half the time. This week was very busy because the students had to take a very difficult exam, and they put on these super fun skits which were very entertaining, and I really enjoyed watching them. The students are so funny and so creative. Apparently, this is something that they do regularly. They choose skits from various movies or from TV shows, and then they put on their own little skit with the costumes, and they perform at like different festivals and things. So it was a lot of fun, and I could tell the students really enjoyed doing it. We had dinner again at one of my favorite places. I love eating this way. It's so much fun. They have all these skewers and you pick out the ones that you want. So there's lots of meat and vegetable options. Like I talked about this one in another video, and we just had to do it again because it's so much fun.
Holy moly. You're beautiful.
During the weekend, a good friend of mine came up to visit, and he's from the same hometown as me, and he's currently teaching in Guangzhou. So we decided to plan some fun things over the weekend. We went up on the top of the Jinyun Mountain, which was beautiful. We had some delicious food. I believe this is pork belly, up on top of the mountain. And it was just such a nice trip. I'm glad I'm in a part of China where you can really enjoy the outdoors, and the spring weather here is just gorgeous and perfect. So we went for a nice stroll, and before we could get to the top of the mountain and see the temple there, I was having some bad cramps, so I had to finish my trek early and take a taxi back to the apartment and wait on my friends. But fortunately, they had a really good time, and they got a great view from up top. So by the evening, I was feeling a lot better, and I was able to go out and enjoy the traditional hot pot dinner with them.
Look at her.
The next day, I was feeling much better. I was able to have some coffee at this nice little cafe in the morning. And then we headed to Chongqing, where my friend booked one of the coolest looking hotels I've ever seen in my life. I had to get video of it. And to stay in this hotel, it was like $40 a night. Everything here is just so incredibly affordable. It really makes me want to come back. It's amazing. But we did some exploring in the city. Chongqing is such a big city that to get downtown to the main city part, it's almost an hour drive. And after having an amazing lunch, we did a little sightseeing around. We visited this fun and kind of unusual little shopping district that had all sorts of cute cafes and a bunch of fun little gift shops. And then we got to do my absolute favorite thing in the world, which is to visit a vintage clothing store. Every time I travel, I try to visit a vintage clothing store And I found that most of them are pretty similar. You see a lot of the same things that you would see in a vintage store back home. So I'm so glad my roommate found this little spot. I bought a couple of items, and I just absolutely love shopping for vintage clothes. It's one of my favorite things to do. Chongqing is really famous for the terrain. It's a very mountainous area, and it makes for some really unusual sights. Like here, we walked up just one flight of stairs from the ground level, but after just walking up one flight, we found ourselves at the very top of a building, like 22 stories up. So you get to see some pretty interesting sights like that.
How'd we get so high up here?
It's not a great place for anyone that doesn't like climbing a lot of flights of stairs, because there were so many different stairs to go up and down to get where we were going. I love exploring this city, and I got to try a lot of different foods. So here are some of the foods I tried during week 5. My friend and I had such a fun weekend, and I hope I get to come back and visit him sometime if I get to go to Shanghai. So here's looking forward to my last 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.